Welcome to Movie Time. Today we're excited to share our selection of the top 10 action movies you should add to your list. These movies will keep you hooked from start to finish, immersing you in non-stop thrills, intense moments, and heart-pounding scenes that won't let you look away for even a second. If you enjoy these action movie summaries, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with your movie-loving friends. Stay tuned until the end of the video and share your favorite film with us in the comments. Number 10. J2, Jay Retribusi. Jay Retribusi is a 2021 action-packed Malaysian film that follows elite unit Tindakan Khas officer Jay Zulkarnain returns in a high-stakes mission filled with betrayal, danger, and redemption. After the events of Jay Revolusi, Jay has been sidelined, his reputation tarnished due to accusations that cost him his career. But when a powerful corporate building owned by Corporat Nasional is taken over by a group of heavily armed terrorists, Jay is suddenly thrust back into action. Among the hostages is Nadia, the CEO's daughter, and a person with strong ties to Jay's past. Tasked with a covert rescue operation, Jay infiltrates the building to free the captives. However, things spiral out of control when he realizes that this is no ordinary hostage situation. The terrorists, led by a ruthless mastermind, have a hidden agenda that could shake the foundations of the national security system. The film delivers intense close-quarters combat, advanced weaponry, and explosive action, all while adding emotional depth. Number 9. The Channel. The Channel is a 2023 gritty action thriller that follows Jamie, a former Marine trying to build an honest life for his family in New Orleans. Haunted by his past and struggling financially, Jamie is drawn back into a life of crime by his reckless brother Mick, who convinces him to take part in a high-stakes bank robbery. The plan appears simple, but things quickly spiral out of control when the heist turns into a brutal shootout. The robbery, carried out by a team of ex-military operatives, leaves multiple officers dead and sparks an intense manhunt. As the crew escapes into the urban chaos of New Orleans, they're pursued by determined FBI agent Frank Rosk, who is as relentless as he is methodical. Ross knows the city and the minds of men like Jamie and Mick, making the chase both personal and psychological. The streets of New Orleans become a battleground as the fugitives attempt to evade capture, leading to a final confrontation that tests Jamie's morals and survival instincts. Number 8. Darkland, The Return. Darkland, The Return, also known as Under Verden 2, is a 2023 Danish action thriller that follows Zaid, a former surgeon whose life has been shattered by his involvement in Copenhagen's violent gang world. After spending 7 years in prison, Zaid is released and faces a desperate situation. His 7-year-old son, whom he barely knows, is in danger, and the boy's safety depends on Zaid's willingness to work undercover for the police. Though reluctant, Zaid accepts the deal, hoping to protect his son and reconcile with the family he lost. As he re-enters the treacherous streets of Copenhagen, he must navigate a dangerous double life, balancing the demands of the police while maintaining his cover within the criminal underworld. Throughout the movie, the stakes rise as Zaid faces brutal gang conflicts, betrayals, and moral dilemmas. The story builds tension with fast-paced action sequences and gritty realism, painting a stark portrait of life in Copenhagen's gang scene. Number 7. Point Break. Point Break is a 2015 high-octane action thriller and remake of the 1991 cult classic. The story follows Johnny Utah, a former extreme sports athlete haunted by a tragic accident, joins the FBI seeking redemption. He's assigned to investigate daring heists targeting multinational corporations, crimes involving death-defying stunts linked to the mythical Ozaki 8, a series of extreme challenges honoring nature and human limits. Utah proposes that the group responsible are eco-activist athletes, attempting the Ozaki 8 to achieve enlightenment through extreme sports. He goes undercover and eventually infiltrates the group led by the enigmatic and spiritual Bodhi. Bodhi believes in challenging the system and giving back to the earth by redistributing wealth from corrupt corporations. As Utah becomes immersed in their world, he bonds with Bodhi and is torn between his duty as a law enforcement agent and the adrenaline-fueled philosophy of the group. Number 6. The Outlaws. The Outlaws is a 2017 gripping Korean crime action film set in the Garabong district of Seoul, a neighborhood known for its high concentration of Chinese Korean residents. The story is based on the real-life 2004 Hyuksapa incident involving brutal turf wars between rival gangs. Detective Ma Seok-do, a tough street-smart officer with a no-nonsense attitude, works with his team to keep the peace between two long-standing Chinese-Korean gangs. Although these gangs are rivals, they've managed to coexist with an uneasy truce. However, the balance is shattered when Jiang Chen, a ruthless and sadistic gang leader from Harbin, China, arrives in Seoul with his brutal henchmen. He murders rival gang leaders and anyone who stands in his way, instilling fear throughout the neighborhood. As the body count rises and chaos spreads, the detective realizes that this new threat won't be stopped by negotiation. Only force can bring him down. Number 5. Run All Night. Run All Night is a 2015 action thriller that follows Jimmy Conlon, a former mob hitman, once known as the Gravedigger, lives a broken life in New York City. Haunted by the crimes of his past and estranged from his son Mike, Jimmy now drowns himself in alcohol and regret. His only remaining connection is with his lifelong friend and mob boss, Sean Maguire, who has moved into more legitimate business but still commands respect and power in the criminal underworld. Jimmy's quiet, miserable life is shaken when Mike witnesses a murder. Sean's son Danny kills a drug dealer in a deal gone wrong. Danny, fearing exposure, tries to eliminate Mike, but Jimmy intervenes and is forced to kill Danny to protect his son. This act ignites a brutal chain of events as Sean vows revenge and unleashes his men, and a deadly hired assassin named Price to hunt down Jimmy and Mike. Now on the run, the father and son have to put their past behind them and stick together if they want to make it through the night alive. Number 4. The Last Stand.
Several officers down.
The Last Stand is a 2013 action thriller that follows Sheriff Ray Owens, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, a former LAPD narcotics officer who has chosen a quiet life as the lawman of Somerton Junction, a sleepy border town between Arizona and Mexico. His peaceful routine is disrupted when FBI agents inform him that a dangerous drug cartel leader, Gabriel Cortez, has escaped from federal custody. Cortez is heading toward the border at high speed in a specially modified Corvette ZR1, taking a hostage and outmaneuvering every attempt to stop him. As the FBI scrambles to intercept Cortez, it becomes clear that Somerton is the last barrier between the fugitive and freedom. With a small group of deputies and local misfits, including the eccentric weapons collector Louis Dinkum, Owens decides to prepare for a showdown. Though his team is outgunned and outnumbered, they begin setting traps and blocking the road, determined not to let Cortez slip through. Number 3. The Legend of Tarzan.
You are Tarzan.
The Legend of Tarzan is a 2016 action-adventure film that follows Tarzan, now known as John Clayton III, years after leaving the jungles of Africa, as he has adapted to life as an English aristocrat in London with his wife Jane. He is invited back to the Congo as a trade emissary of Parliament, unaware that the invitation is part of a deadly trap devised by the corrupt Belgian captain Léon Rom. Rom seeks to deliver Tarzan to an African tribal chief Mbonga in exchange for rare diamonds that will fund King Leopold's colonial ambitions. Initially reluctant, Tarzan agrees to return after being persuaded by American envoy George Washington Williams, who suspects slavery is being used to exploit the region. Upon arriving, Tarzan reunites with his homeland and begins to sense that something is wrong. When Jane is kidnapped by Rom and his mercenaries, Tarzan must embrace his primal side to rescue her. As he travels through the jungle with George, Tarzan reconnects with the animals and people of his past. Number 2. The Magnificent Seven. The Magnificent Seven is a 2016 modern action western and a remake of the 1960 classic film. In 1879, the frontier town of Rose Creek falls under the iron fist of gold magnate Bartholomew Bogue. Bogue's private army forces the townsfolk into slave labor in his mine, And when the people resist, he has their church burned and Farmer Matthew Cullen murdered as a warning. Matt Cullen's widow Emma and her friend Teddy escape to find help. They enlist Sam Chisholm, played by Denzel Washington, a legendary ex-U.S. Marshal who senses something personal in Bogue's deeds. Chisholm agrees and begins recruiting a team to liberate Rose Creek. He assembles a diverse band of gunslingers known as the Seven. Though each has different motivations, they all agree to fight for Rose Creek. The Seven arrive in town, drive out Bogue's men, and begin training the terrified townspeople in preparation for a counterattack. Number 1. John Wick, Chapter 4.
You ready, John?
Yeah.
John Wick, Chapter 4 is a 2023 action thriller in which Keanu Reeves reprises his role as the titular assassin, John, who seeks revenge against the High Table and those who betrayed him. The story begins with Wick in hiding, recovering from his injuries. He travels across the globe from New York to Osaka, Berlin, and Paris, encountering old allies and new enemies. One of the most dangerous is Marquis, a high-ranking member of the High Table who is given authority to eliminate Wick and anyone who helps him. As the bodies pile up and betrayals mount, Wick challenges the Marquis to a duel, a traditional but deadly form of justice sanctioned by the High Table. If Wick wins, he will be free. But before he can face the Marquis, he must survive one final gauntlet through the streets of Paris, filled with elite assassins determined to claim the reward on his life. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end of this video. If you enjoyed what you watched, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our future content. Feel free to leave a comment down below, share your thoughts, or suggest topics you'd like to see in upcoming videos.